Hi everybody, welcome to this week's video. Please excuse the horrible hair. There are 100-kilometer winds outside right now. I had to go to the bank this morning and my hair just got poof. It was awful. Now it's snowing, windy, trees are down everywhere. The power went out last night. It's been one of those mornings. Yeah. Today we are going to be doing the new jewelry kits. Yes, they are finally done. They are here. They're available on my website. I'm going to show you what's inside the bag. I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make the pendant that you get in your package. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is what you're going to get in the mail, in this nice pink bubbly wrap package. You'll see our sticker with a little thank you because yes, we do appreciate your business. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show you what's inside. Okay, so what you're going to be getting in the kit, first of all, is my business card with my website, as well as all my social media information, emails, phone number. If you have any problem with your kit or you're unhappy with your kit, you can get a hold of me. You can also do it on my website. This is the pattern that I'm going to get you to follow today. It is very simple. Trust me, it is very, very simple. And when you get to the top here, you can do a little bit of your own touches to it. In your kit, you'll be getting 4 pieces of 9-inch 18 gauge square wire. Now this is non-tarnish antique copper wire. So depending on the stone, I actually put in a few different colored wires because some of the stones look better with a silver colored wire, some of them vintage copper, and also antique copper. So just depending on the stone, I tried to match up the stone to the proper colored wire just to bring out the best in each stone. You get your cabochon, of course. Now, some cabochons are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit smaller, some are round. It's kind of a surprise in what you're going to be getting, but trust me, all the stones are absolutely gorgeous, every one of them. Also, a 6-inch piece of half round antique copper wire. This is 21 gauge, and then 3-inch piece of half round 21 gauge antique copper. I put these kits together and I'm selling them on my website for a couple of different reasons. One, you get to make your own beautiful pendant. 2, wire work is a lot of fun and very therapeutic. I find it very therapeutic to sit down and actually do wire work. A ruler, painter's tape or masking tape, whichever works, whichever you have laying around the house. Definitely need a pair of chain nose pliers. These are very, very important. So yes, good pair of chain nose pliers. Pair of flush cutters. These ones are fairly small. I'll leave a link in the description box below so you know where I got everything. Now in this video, I did use a pair of flat nose pliers. You don't need them specifically, but if you want, a specific look, then definitely if you have a pair. But if you don't have a pair of these, no worries, you don't necessarily need them. And a pen or a pencil. A pencil, I find it's a hexagon shape, so I don't like it so much, but a pen to make your bail. Also, I have already straightened the wire for you, but if you find that you need to straighten it, you can also use a pair of nylon jaw pliers. You don't need these. Like I said, the wire is already pre-straightened. So, but if for some reason you need to, straighten the wire, these work really good if you have a pair. Also, a jewelry cleaning cloth also works really good to straighten up the wire if you need. Let's get started with the video. All right, so we're going to start with the 4 pieces of 18 gauge antique copper wire. And what I want to do is measure just basically. You don't have to be perfect. Like, it doesn't have to be measured perfectly in the middle, but we're going to measure in the middle. So this is a 9-inch piece. These are 9-inch pieces. So the middle is going to be 4.5. Basically, I want to put my binding in the middle here. So I'm going to kind of guesstimate that maybe around 4 1/8, maybe 4 1/4 would be good. I think we'll go with maybe 4 1/4, and that'll give us approximately 1/2 inch of binding to go on the bottom of this stone. If it goes out this way a little bit, it's not a big deal because your bail and your embellishments that you're going to do on the top, you're never going to know. I'm going to take the half round wire. Now make sure that your half round wire, the flat side is going towards your work. You don't want the round side going towards your work. It's not going to bind it properly. So make sure, and you can kind of tell when you look on this side, you can see that it's flat. The light shines on it really good. This side doesn't shine on it as good. That's how I check sometimes. Okay, and then just hold it with your finger. Just go down about this much. Make sure that your wires are sitting together very nice. That's what you want. Okay, and I'm going to go and hold this just down a little bit and then just start pressing that up and then over. And that's your first bind. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about that it's not sitting exactly tight. That's okay. Just keep a really good hold on your wires there. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to start by holding down that the second loop that we did. The second loop right there. I'm going to pull you in just a little bit just so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, there. Stop shaking, camera. All right, then go around your second one. Now this wire is very soft, so you don't have to be mean with it. And every time I do a loop, I'm pressing down that wire against the 4 wires. And then just keep doing that, like so. And you can use up this whole wire if you want to. It doesn't matter how big your binding is at the bottom. With my other pattern, I actually used up the whole thing. So you don't have to though, if you don't want to. And then you just keep going around like so. And I always press each loop after I've done it to the 4 wires, the 4 base wires. I find that doing that, it just helps keep the 4 base wires in place because you want them to sit together. At this point, I've pretty much, I don't have a lot of wire left, so I'm going to utilize this wire as best I can. And I think that'll be it for that one. Okay, and then this one, this one here is always a little bit looser for me, so I'm going to take it and pull it again. Okay, and then I'm going to go over one more time. Pull this over because this is going to be my back side. All right. Now I'm going to pull these up a little bit. You want to cut that kind of in the middle. You don't want it to be cut right on the edge. It will show in your design. All right, and then you take your little cutters and you just cut, being sure to put your finger over the wire as you cut it. You don't want that flying in your eye. Like that. All right, and then press down. Press those down really tight. All right, now we take the cab and you want it to sit pretty much in the middle. Now it's easier for me, I find it's easier to just center the cab with your fingers, kind of hold it there, like so. Make sure it's kind of centered there, like that. And then just hold it, like so. This is fairly soft wire, so it's not too bad. Okay, and then I'm going to start pressing it around, holding everything kind of in place. Don't worry if your wires start to curve around the rock, that's okay. That's kind of what it's supposed to do. All right, that's the first one. Holding your rock in place. Now you press the other one around. Like so. Now it looks a little wonky here, that's okay. It's not gonna be perfect. And I always take my chain nose pliers and just straighten this out a little bit because it does get kind of out of whack. Just be careful here how you pull your wires around with your chain nose pliers. They can mar up the wire. I'm a little bit off here, so I'm going to pull that back out and just curve it a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then just straighten this one a little bit. And this is kind of the process of, you know, getting your wires to go around there really nicely. It's a process. Take your time. Don't worry about it. Just take your time. And your wires may move a little bit, which is fine. You can readjust those to stay right in the middle, like so. And that pretty much fits pretty good. All right. Now what I want to do is take this and close these, bend these outward, like bend these wires this way. So I'm going to do that with my fingers. Like that. Trying to keep them pretty much even. There, like that. So when they go around your stone, they will come together like so. I'm just going to round that out a little. And again, like I said, it's a process. Sometimes these do not, you know, sometimes the wires don't move together exactly. That's okay. You can push them back into place. Just making sure that it's pretty much even on both sides. And it actually looks pretty good. So this is your 3-inch half round wire. And this one, I like to use it to pretty much hold this baby in place, because as you're wrapping square wire, you want it to kind of stay in place. So I have a little bit of painter's tape here. I am going to tape it because the square wires do like to move around quite a bit. So yeah, it's not as fun to do that. So I'm just going to tape this like so, just to keep the wires from, you know, moving around. So that works better. And then again, as always, just double check all the time your binding. Make sure that it's sitting pretty much straight. Make sure that your wire, the flat part of your half round, is up against your work, like so. Make sure those are straight. Because I've got nails on, yeah. And then just start pulling it real tight. Get that right? No, see, I made that mistake. Look at that. Not checking. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, now I got it right. Okay, now pull tight like that. There. Now you've got those wires locked in place. Okay, I'm going to take this tape off here. This one should just slide right off there. I do like painter's tape. It comes off really easy. Doesn't leave a residue on my work. Like so. Bend that out. Okay. And then I'm just going to finish wrapping this around there. Most of the time when I use half round wire here, I'm doing something on the bail with the half round wire, but for this particular pattern, no, I'm just going to use it because I find it's easier if you hold the wire in place with something. Half round wire really works good as a bind, like to bind it together. There we go. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to cut it just a little bit and press it down. There. We're ready to wrap the stone in its case. You got to kind of decide which way do you want your stone. You want it this way because a lot of these stones have designs on them, little marks, so I think I will go upwards like this. Push it in there. And it's gonna be a little tight, that's fine. Before we do anything, let's check, and as you can see, it's crooked again, which is normal. Sometimes that happens, so I'm gonna straighten everything out here. Being gentle with your pliers. Don't scrape or drag your pliers on your wire. It will mar this wire. All right, now I'm gonna put her in there. There, that worked, that's nicer. I said I was gonna go up top, so let's do that. In there, I'm just gonna pull this down a little, just to go over the stone. With my nail. If you don't have really strong nails, you can do this with a pen, you can do it with an awl. But like I said, you gotta be really careful that you do not damage your wire. Okay, so I'm just pulling those out now to hold the stone in place. Now that I've got that there, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna finish pulling those out yet. It's holding the stone, gives me a little more ease on working with the front now. So I'm gonna pull the front over the stone like that. Don't worry if your stone falls out. It's going to for a few minutes yet. Again, if your nails aren't strong enough for this, my real nails are not. You can use an awl, you can use a pen, you can even use a knife, like a really, if you have an old like a peeling knife or something, you can do that. So push this in like so. Oops. And like I said, this is very soft wire, so be careful. You can move it around a little bit, it's not a biggie. There. Your stone is captured now in there. See, it's nice. Not completely tight yet, but it is in there. And we can move on to the next step. I'm going to take my flat nose pliers and try to, when you do this one here, try to kind of gauge about how far you are away from the binding, and then do that same thing on the other side. So if you stay, say, about 1/8 of an inch away from this side of the binding, do the same on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do, about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to, see, don't slip like that, that's not good. And then I'm going to push it in. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, about 1/8 of an inch. Push it in. Okay. Now this side here, you can either just, you know, press it with your fingers. You don't have to do it with your pliers if you don't want to. This side can be more straight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my smaller pliers, so my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to just do a little bend. So again, I'm going to stay about 1/8 of an inch away from the binding and just press that in. And this one here, press it in. There we go. And then just kind of move it around to the way you like it. Press everything into place. This is not completely bound yet. I like to push the two base wires back on the cab just a little bit. This one here is actually sitting in place good. Adjust and move things away. Like if you want more of a bend, you can do that if you want to. Holding your wire out even. You can do something like that. So I'll show you again what I did there. So hold it where you bent it the first time and press this part of the wire with your thumb that way as you bend this part this way. That's what gives that little decoration there. Okay, there. All right, now we're ready for the next step, the bail and the embellishment. So before I begin anything, I always separate my wires. And I separate them into pairs. So these two, the very front, I'm going to pull ahead a little bit. The next ones in line, they're gonna go here, and then so on and so forth. Just make sure you got the right wire for the right partner. I always do it in twos because there's 4 on this side, 4 on that side. So the back one can go to the back, and then these two here. Now with this pattern here, I'm going to make these two my bail. Okay, so those ones you don't want to press out too much. You want to pull those forward. You want to pull those up so that they sit like that. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to pull these down a little bit. These ones are probably going to go down that way anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. And then I'm going to do my bail right now. So with this one here, you don't actually need a tool. I use a pen a lot of times to do. I do have a set of bail making pliers, but a lot of people don't. Just push that forward a little bit. Just push it forward a little bit, okay? And then take your thumb, make sure your pen is as straight as it can be. And then just start pressing your wires around the pen, trying to keep the pen as straight as possible. Now, like I said, this wire is it's soft. It's pretty soft. So you don't have to worry too much about when you get to the bottom here. Just keep pressing, keep the wires together in your fingers like that, and press and press and press. There, until they're sitting like that. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out here because we don't need this anymore. Pull, there. That's what your wire should look like. Okay, so I'm gonna press that in really good. You want it to sit right up against your pendant, the back of your pendant, like that. Okay, looks pretty good. Now I'm gonna take these wires here, so these two back ones, and we're going to press those down. So take it like in your finger like this and just press down so it comes down around those wires like that, real tight. Okay, and then face it, leave it forward so it sits at the front of your bail. And then this one here, same thing. With your finger, you can do it with your thumb, not a big issue. Press it down, keep it real tight up against that, and it should sit forward like so. So like that. Now I'm going to pull these wires to the back. These are basically to hold my bail in place. And do the same with the other one. Pull it real tight around to the back. You can go on top of that one. Not a biggie. There we go. So that they're sitting facing opposite directions now on the back of the pendant. So I started here I pulled each one of them forward and around to the back, and then facing this way, like that. I'm gonna leave those. I'm not going to cut them, but I am gonna work with this here. I want these to be in place to hold these wires in place. So I'm gonna pull them up like so. Pull it up like so. There, like that. I'm just going to use my chain nose pliers to pull them up a little bit. Hold that real tight. Pull up. Pull the second one up to meet the other one. I'm going to cut these ones off now, and I'm going to twist them up so they hold those two wires. Don't cut off too much at first. You don't want to be too short. So I'm going to go approximately probably about half an inch, maybe a little less than half an inch. Hold your wire. Okay, cut the other one. Try to get it as even as possible. If you want to know how I do it, I always rest, or at least get my cutters to where they're almost cutting the other wire. And then just hold that wire. I'm going to take my chain nose plier, grab that wire, and I'm going to pull it into the other wire. So it's actually holding that wire in place now. And then this one, the same exact thing. Pull it up and over that other wire. Just like so. Now with these wires that are left over, I'm going to pull them down over like this. And I'm going to pull this one over like that, just shaping it with my finger. Okay, like so. And at this point, you can pretty much do whatever you want. If you want to embellish the back, which is something I do like to do, you can twist it with your finger, you can cut it off if you want to and curl it in. It's up to you at this point what you do. But I think I'm just going to embellish the back a little bit because I always think that looks pretty. So I've taken one of my wires and I've twisted it with my finger, as you can see. Okay, I've twisted it with my finger and now it's sitting like that. Okay, I'm going to take my cutters and cut off a little bit, not too much, about there. So I've cut off about half an inch. Just take my chain nose pliers. A lot of people take the round nose pliers. I just like the way the chain nose pliers look. And I'm going to twist it in like so. There. That looks pretty. I do like embellishing the back because sometimes, you know, as you wear pieces, they do sometimes flip over. And then just take pliers and press the end in so you have nothing, you know, gonna poke anybody. And then with this one, you could do another little twirly there if you want. I think we'll do that. We'll just do another little twirly. I'm not gonna cut this one because it's already pretty short. And just twist it. Make it your own piece. There we go. Now on to the front. All right, we are almost done this pendant. So this is actually my favorite part. I kind of just look at it a little bit and figure out, what do I want to do? I love swirls, so I'm gonna swirl it around. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 3 of them. See, my wires are kind of heading off to this side here. Because of that, I'm gonna pull and do a curve. I'm gonna pull and do a loop around this way. So I'm gonna come around this way with it. That's just the way that I do it. You know, if you feel you wanna continue with that loop that way, that's completely up to you. So what I do is I grab with my finger and I'm gonna take these all together. Hopefully that works out. You know, a lot of times the embellishment works out a little bit different than I had originally planned. So I'm gonna hold it like this I'm gonna hold them like that, and I'm gonna start twisting them to go this way. Like I said, it's not always easy. I'll try that, okay. And then just get them to swirl like that. There. If you're uncomfortable with doing 3 at a time, then by all means, just do 1 at a time. I like to do the 3 together, but that's just me. You can do 1 at a time, it's not a big issue. And then I just press it towards the back, like towards the bail a little bit, so that it sits really close into the pendant, like that. Okay, so you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can start them back this way if you want to, and like this here, start bending them into like an S shape. Whatever you choose to do. It's completely up to you. There is no wrong or right to any of this. I've basically got my shape that I want. All right. Now I'm going to separate those a little bit. Like that. And I'm going to pull this one up a little bit. Hold these two. I'm going to hold that one right at the bend. I'm going to hold it and just pull it up a little bit. So I have those separated. Kind of like that. Now I'm going to cut them so that they're not exactly even. I'm going to cut this one here, like so. This one out a little bit. And I might even leave that. I'm going to trim a little bit off this one here. Like so. Now these might be a little bit too long, but that's okay. I can always shorten those up later. And this one's definitely going to be a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim this up a little bit. So that's initially what I wanted to do, but it's not sitting the way that I like. So I'm going to trim these a little bit more, and I always trim with flush cutters towards the piece, so like this, like that there. So I'm going to trim that one. I'm going to trim this one because I think it's a little bit too long. It's too much of a, and I'm going to trim this one. And then just twist again. Do your little spiral. That's better. It's just a matter of playing around and seeing what you like, right? I mean, this is totally your piece. You got to do what you like. And I'm going to bring this one here, and I'm just going to make a little swirl just right here. I'm gonna kind of go a little bit tighter. Like that. I'm gonna take approximately off of this side here. It looks like about a little less than an inch maybe. Like that. I'm gonna swirl this one the other way. I find if you do too many swirls the same way, it just looks, I don't know, like almost uneven. It's almost like you have to have, you know, some swirls going this way, some swirls going that way. Again, totally up to you what you want to do, but that's just the way that I like to do it. So I'm going to take the end and I'm going to hold what I've done already. So the wire here, hold it, just start swirling it in. And this one's basically, it's for, you know, embellishment too, but also to kind of hide what I did there with the, with my bail. And there we are. There we go. Simple, beautiful. I always pull my bails apart a little bit. I just think that looks really pretty. Like so. And just check over your piece. Make sure that everything is even the way that you like it. These actually, I don't really need to touch those up at all. They look really good. This would look good on a copper chain. It would look good on maybe a black leather chain or a black rope chain or something. That would look really cute. And a piece that you did all yourself. All right, all you jewelry making addicts, it's time for me to go. I hope you enjoyed that video and I hope the tutorial was easy to follow along. If you would like more jewelry kits like that, whether it be maybe a pendant or a bracelet or maybe some beadwork, let me know in the comments below, as well as my social media. All the links to my social media will be left in the description box so you can get a hold of me. You can email me. I would love to hear from you. So I'm gonna get out of here now. You guys have a great rest of your week and I hope to see you back here for the next one. Bye.